welcome back to your 3ds Max tutorials. So we're going to take a little step away from editable polys and we're going to move into some more enjoyable aspects of 3ds Max, and in this tutorial we're going to concentrate on the ripple modifier, which is a fantastic tool, and you can really take this object and you can actually bring it to CNC manufacture if you want, or it can be a decorative artifact, or it could actually be a realistic water effect. We're not going to delve too much into it because we're going to try and keep it within the 10 minutes. And so yeah, but let's get cracking. So I'm going to just start off. I'm just going to draw in a plane, and let's make it a blue. Okay, seems we're doing a watery kind of an effect, and let's give it about 40 segments each way, because what 3ds Max is doing, it's going to take the geometry and it's going to incorporate the ripple depending on the amount of segments and the amount of lines and vertices that there are within the object. So the more that's in it, the smoother the transition is going to be. Although we can add a mesh smooth or a turbo smooth, we'll just leave it like this so we can really see our progress as we go along. Okay, so I touched also. I'm gonna take the G away. I take the grid away by pressing G. So I also touched on animations, and I'm going to use it in this tutorial just to really show how it can become a partner when you're designing and modifying certain objects. So I'm going to stick on auto key and zoom in, and I'm just going to set that key the way I set this aspect of this object where he is. Now I'm going to go into my modifier panel, drop down my rollout, press R for ripple, and here we have it. So I'm just going to stick in maybe a 10mm amplitude. So we have amplitude in one direction and then amplitude in the second direction, which is our X and Y directions. And then the wavelength is pretty much the depth of the wave. The phase then is pretty much the way that it flows up and down. It's between 10 decibels, between 1 to 2 is the same as between 2 and 3. And then the decay is how much the wave deteriorates as it moves away from the pivot point. So enough talking about it, let me just show you. So let me just start off here with an amplitude of say 10. That looks good for that scale. And we'll also give the same amplitude to amplitude number 2. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to reset them to 0. And then I'm going to move this the scrubber over, we'll say, to 10 frames. And now we'll make our changes. So that's fine. 10 by 10. And now if I just show you while we're in here what the phase does. So see, the phase is making the wave flow up and down. And if I just go, so there's 0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 and so on. And when I get to 1, it's back to its initial state. And if I keep going again, back to its initial state again once we reach 2. So it moves in decibels of 1 to 10. And so that's what we're actually going to do. We're going to set this back to 0, and we will leave the amplitude as they are for now, and we will slide our scrubber along to 20, and this time we put the phase up by 0.1, and I might actually bring the wavelength down a touch. Let's see what looks good. Okay, so maybe we might end up with something like this. So we started at 50. So let's just go to 40. Let's go to 40, and we move our decay up by 0.1. I'm going to move it on again to 30 and move the phase up by 1. I'm going to bring the wavelength down to 30, and I'm just going to do this 10 frames just to make it an even transition throughout the wave. So this time I'm just going to go up again. One more phase, bring the decay up a touch, maybe a little bit more than 1, maybe a few decibels. And this is not going to be perfect, but it'll be fine just to show you the example. Fine for the sake of this tutorial. So I'm going to bring that up again to 0.4 and bring this down to 20 and bring this to 60. Move the phase up one more, bring the decay up a little bit more gradual just to give it less of an erratic flow. Let's go over to 70. Move the phase up one. Let's move that decay up to get a nice gentle transition from the center point as it moves away from the pivot. And let's go to 80 and we put the wavelength to 10 and we bring this decay down. That wavelength doesn't look good, it doesn't like that. It's a bit pixelated. 15, okay, that's about the most. And again, that's down to the number of segments. So the wavelength is actually smaller than the number of segments. So the segments don't really transition too well. It's not the flow has been lost. The gentle curvature is non-existent. It's too jaggedy and too pointed. So I might actually leave that at 20. It's a nicer form. And I bring the phase up one. Move this over to 90 and we'll just phase this out like so. And we'll leave it at that. Okay, so I'm just going to click away. I'm going to turn off my auto key and I'm just going to press play. And now you can see we have this gentle wave coming and then flowing back out again nice and gently. So it's not too bad. I actually thought it was going to be worse. There wasn't much thought put into the animation. But now I'm just going to show you why the animation is so powerful. You can see for yourself how powerful the ripple modifier is. So I'm just going to go back to the start. Like so. I'm going to increase the screen. I'll just show you one more time, one more transition on the full screen. So you can see how that runs. That's beautiful. Okay, let's go back to the start. So now if we move our scrubber along, we can control and we can stop this wherever we like. And this is where the animation comes in useful. So let's go along and say, okay, I like that shape. So I'm going to highlight him. I'm going to copy him. I'm not going to have him as an instance or a reference. He's just going to be his own individual copy. I won't bother with the naming for now. We'll just for the sake of the tutorial, I'm just showing you how handy it is and how useful it is. So we'll go to OK. Right click on him. Convert to Editable Poly. Let me just show you what happens if I don't. If I move it, you can see both of them are animating together. So I'm just going to bring it back to where it was. Right click, convert to Editable Poly. Now, this object is set in stone. That's the way he is. He's not going to change any longer. So we can move this original, the original object. We can change the shape. So we can go like so. Okay, that's a nice one. Let's go right click. We're just going to copy him again as a copy. That's fine. Let's move the scrubber along another little bit till we find another shape. Oh, excuse me. So we'll say that's the shape that we wanted. I forgot to save him as an editable poly or convert him to an editable poly. So let me holding shift, I'm going to slide him over as a copy and then right click, convert to editable poly. Now that's it, we're back on track again. So let's continue on with our scrubber till we find another shape that we might like. Okay, we'll leave that point in the middle. And let's move him over. Yes, we'll have him as a copy. And move him down a touch. Right click, convert to Editable Poly. And we'll do one more. Maybe one of the more gentle curves. And we want to take him. Copy him. And let's move him over here where we can see. Right click and convert to Editable Poly. So now we actually have 4 objects that are set in stone and we can still use our original as a tool, and we can actually go back into our parameters if we wish, back into our ripple, and we can change them even more. So you can see the power of animation is really useful. It's a really useful tool. Okay, so I recommend playing around with that. You can add that ripple to more than just planes. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.